Welcome back. This is lesson 5. Today I would like to work on a flower, but before we work on flowers, I want to introduce you to a couple of things. So I found this color wheel. It's really cool. And I don't know where I found it actually, but you can find it at any art store. It's nice because see, in here, if you have it's a spin like this, and it tells you what happens if you, for example, add a yellow to red orange. You have this orange in here, right? Or if you add blue to orange, you obtain this kind of violetish gray color. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty interesting. See that? I mean, you want to mix the colors, right? You want to mix the color because as you mix them, you understand what happened. Why the colors that you obtain are the color that you obtain, how you obtain them. But this can be a neat, easy tool to work with, and it also has, of course, the complementary position the right way. So red and green, blue and orange, and then yellow and violet. See that? So it's a nice tool to have, right? So what I would like to talk to you about today is, speaking of colors, is this. So this is my palette that I made by. So this is neat. Actually, it's a metal palette, right? It can take a lot of banging, and it's big, so I can use it outdoors, but also in the studio. It has mixing surface enough, and I squeeze this color. I put in myself, the color that I like. So this is a palette that I created that just to see that goes with another box of watercolors, but it tells me what characteristics these various colors have. These are blocks colors. This is a Belgian blocks, I think blocks. Belgian manufacturer, very good quality colors. They're kind of difficult to find, but they're beautiful. They're really beautiful colors. They're traditional. They have honey in it, and somehow the honey gives them. I don't know exactly what honey is for, and it's not used anymore because it's an organic material and it can kind of create problem with mold, etc. But they put also various preservatives in it, so it's not a problem anymore. I think it has to do with the consistency when you paint. It flows in an interesting, I wouldn't say sticky way, but it has a nice consistency. I guess you have to try it. So, but today I want to talk to you about cobalt violet. So, cobalt violet is the color that we're going to use for the flowers, which is a coneflower. And cobalt violet is probably one of the few colors, if not the only color, that you cannot really mix with any other color. So you gotta buy it. It's very expensive, but it's a beautiful color. So as you see, cobalt violet has a quality of it's a little bit granular. It has this kind of a granular texture, so it's not going to be smooth. But we can make it smooth by painting on hot pressed paper. So just to give you an idea of what the color looks like, right? So let's see. We have from last week here. I'm gonna get some of this color here. So a tube of cobalt violet, depending on the size, goes anywhere between, $25, $30, $35. So it's expensive color. So but it's beautiful. It has a beautiful, glowing, just balanced color. It's really nice, delicate, but it's got quite some character, right? So today we're gonna use this color here. See how the texture in the cat is here. The texture in this on this paper is very smooth. See that? But look at the texture in this paper, which is cold press. See how more granular it is. See that? So you want to consider that. You want to consider that. But look how smooth it is here. See that? So the hot press paper permits you to achieve a high level of detail, but it's also very demanding in terms of technique. For example, I did this for fun, right, some time ago, and I imagined this scene of being a bee and then flying around digitalis, and this is cobalt violet. In addition to cobalt violet, I also put ultramarine violet in there, and to darken it. And in this case, I also use the ultramarine violet, very, very intense, very dense as a color. And around it, the yellowish color is gouache, because I didn't want to paint around the violet, leave it white, and put the yellow in the white. So I just added later on. But normally I would not paint on with opaque water media. So like this, for example, in this case in here, the wings, where the white of the wings is, I painted around the white, right? So, so today I would like you to show you how to approach drawing a flower in a very, very detailed way. So I have prepared quite some sketches in here. These are drawing that I refined after copying. I don't have an original sketch anymore, but I made many versions of that, you know. Basically what I did, I created a very quick sketch, and then from that I created actually more than one sketch. From that I created possible different versions. The one with a butterfly, you know, one without the butterfly, more flowers, fewer flowers, and eventually what I did is once I decided what design to use, I photocopied it. This is a photocopy. You can also see where here I cut the original photo, one of the early photocopies here. Here I cut the photocopy and then assemble the photocopy together using various flowers that I liked from various part of this original sketch, right? So kind of assemble like that. See, this is still, I'm still working on that. Why I just didn't have finished this work. So this, let's say, is now the final sketch, right? The final drawing. So as I showed you previously, I put graphite in the back, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this drawing, at least one flower, not the whole thing, onto the paper that I'm going to use, which is a hot press paper. So, but before I do that, I want to show you a few things you want to know about drawing flowers, right? I think we discussed this already, but so think of this. Think that. So I have a flower. I can start with a very, very simple flower, right? So we start with in the case of the echinacea, the central disc, and then actually let me make a generic flower. The petals, the flowers are going to go out at various directions, and for now I can start with a very simple design of these central petals stemming out from the center, and I can do it. I can do divided in 8 segments, right, like an octagon, and then from each one of these central rays, I'm going to draw the petal. I can also have an idea of how long the petals are going to be by drawing a a circle around, a concentric circle around the basic disc in here, and then I can have therefore a consistent length of the petals going out like this, right? From here, I could add more, right, in between, but this is the basic structure, right? This is the basic structure of the flower as seen from on top. When I draw this, say, at an angle like that, a three-quarter view, side view, etc., I want to start with in this case, I'm going to put the cone because the disc florets are already developed, but in here I have the central cone with the disc floret developed here like this. And below here I will have the stem, right? Stem is kind of ribbed and a little bit hairy, the stem in the echinacea or the coneflower. So from this central disc in here, which is made with the florets, I'm going to show you later the organization of the floret, I can now do the same thing I did in here, except I'm going to draw some sort of a flying saucer, like Saturn or something. So from here, actually, I want to make this a little bit more I'm going to have more spacing in here than in here, right? So from here now I could do the same thing I did on this sketch here, right? And subdivide it here like this, an angle like that here, and add, as many as I need, right? As many as I need. But starting from this basic geometric structure, now I can add the petals, and because I already established the circumference created by the alignment of the tip of the flowers, of the petals, now I know how long each petal is going to be. Makes sense? And so on. So this is pretty intuitive, right? Pretty intuitive, but it's something that you have to consider every time you draw something, especially a natural organism. You want to understand its structure, yeah, because otherwise it's just pure imitation. We don't want to imitate; we want to conceptualize and understand. So the florets, the stem from this coning here, are organized on a spiral. So imagine this from above, right? This disc from above. And at the center of this disc, a very, very common organization of the seeds eventually is, and the florets also, is a spiral. And it's probably an equiangular spiral, which is the given, it contain the same ratio, is created using the same ratio of the golden section, right? So it's going to be more or less like this, right here, and then I could do it on the other side here, right here. It's the same thing you would find in, I'm going to do only a little section now, because in a sunflower, right? So, makes sense? So if you want to draw a sunflower, you will draw something like that, right? And all the seeds are going to be inside here in the seed of the sunflower. But the florets of the coneflower are also following this. Now, notice that when these lines in here come closer to the center, see that right here and here, they as they come close to the center, this space in here gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So in here, in theory, I would have gigantic seeds in here, or gigantic florets, in here, smaller seeds. So what happened is that toward the extremities, this spacing here, this subdivides in further spaces. So I have now maintained a certain size, relatively similar throughout the whole flower. Makes sense, right? And you see this also in fish scales, which we're going to do another time, right? So now I have all this division here that will give me, in the case of sunflower, the seeds, and then for now I'm gonna block in the florets of this coneflower. So what happened in here now, because this is view from above, right? But this is view from the side like this. So I can imagine what happened if this form here kind of wraps around like this, right? Here. I mean, I'm doing this, from kind of memory, but if you take a coneflower, like with a pine cone, right? Copy it. Just you see how much easier it is, right? So I can go now the other way, right? The other way, and then I'm gonna have now these going down this way, right? And now I have created the organization of the florets, or the seed. With these florets, eventually we'll have little pointy, with them that being little pointy little thorns, the spines. I don't even know what they are called, but they have this little pointy, the coneflowers has this little pointy thingies, right? Here like this. So then inside these pieces that you created, now you can block in all these little specific residues, I guess, the remnant of the florets, which is now hard, right? Makes sense? So eventually you can also, from this point, from this view in here like this, you can also do something that is more, I need another piece of paper, sorry guys. It's a little bit more, let's say, start again with the central cone, right? Like that. And then this, the petal, instead of being lined up like spread out straight like this, are going to be lined up as a cone, right? A cone flower, right? So I'm going to line them as a cone like this. Stem is going to be here, right? And I have the same organization, right? So now I can put my petals here, right? And sometimes they overlap, right? Maybe this one here, so this one here, maybe instead of being so straight, I'm going to give you like a curved form, because petal is not that, rigid, right, all the time. Maybe this is going to come out like that, right? Makes sense. So I can find variations. I can find variation of the petal, and maybe some petal, a little bit curved like that, maybe a little bit longer. Makes sense. So so now I have my my coneflower, and I'm going to start to trace it. So I'm going to trace it over the paper that I showed you before. So showing you again quickly how to do this. So let's start with what should we do? Let's start with this flower up here above, right, which is kind of neat, right? So I'm going to go over it, and this is a photocopy, so I'm not really worried about messing it up, right? So what you want to do that I have not done because I'm irresponsible, right? You want to tape this one here at the upper part, the lower part, to the paper, because you don't want to risk to move the paper halfway and then you cannot really put it back. But now see that I'm tracing that, see that? And I'm gonna go on for a while like that. So now do this. If you can find a coneflower from Life, they had them on sale the other day at I think Lowe's, and they're kind of banged up, but they are like a third of the price. So it's for what we have to do are good. If not, find a picture of a coneflower, and then copy a coneflower like that, and then we're gonna start painting it. Okay, so if you have cobalt violet, good, but I don't feel like telling you go buy cobalt violet because it's very expensive. So you could try to mix it together later on when we start painting, but for now you can use the colors that you have, that these basic colors in here, and maybe ultramarine violet. If you feel like buying cobalt violet, you know, it's a good color to have. It's really beautiful. You might be, you will use it parsimoniously, but once in a while you're going to use it, and it's really lovely colors. So you should go buy coneflowers, or maybe get pictures, get photographs. Copy a couple of these coneflowers, following the method that I showed you earlier on. And it's fairly quickly doing this. It's fairly quick. It's not really takes forever to do this, right? And then once you're done doing the drawing, then we're gonna start coloring together. Okay. So I'll see you in a while.